I'm Dylan Black. You know what? As summer winds down and students prepare to return to class, multitasking may be a part of their lives. Let's see if we can help with that. Apparently, it's not the greatest thing to do. We'll find out more right now with Jim Davies, Professor of Cognitive Science at Carleton University. Hello, how are you?
Great, how are you doing?
I'm good. Okay, so multitasking, just in a nutshell, what exactly is multitasking?
Multitasking is a word we use when people are doing more than one thing at a time. So you might be listening to music while you study or while you jog or something like that.
Okay, and it seems like that's about 2019. A lot of people are doing it probably.
Well, yeah, we got a lot of multitasking going on. We've always had media, but now we've got media that's very pervasive, and people with their phones and tablets with them all the time have more opportunities for multitasking.
Okay, so people are doing this, like a lot of people are multitasking. It's out there, it's happening.
Yeah, scientific studies show that people do it a lot. Okay, people vary in how often they do it, but particularly a lot of younger people will have their phones with a lot of notifications, for example, so they're getting constantly interrupted, which can interfere with focus and concentration.
Okay, so that leads me to the next question. I mean, what is happening to the mind when we're multitasking?
Right, good question. So the multitasking, when you're switching, some of it's actually rapid task switching, right? So you're reading, and then you get a text message, and then your mind is changing tasks, and there's a little bit of a cost there, which means that there's a residue from the thing that you were doing before to the new thing that you're doing, and so your performance, whatever that might be, suffers in each case. But it feels rewarding because it's something new and exciting. So multitasking is the reason people do it, even though it's not very good for you, is that it's exciting and it feels good because of the novelty.
Okay, so is that one of the benefits then to multitasking, that it feels good because that's
sure.
why we're doing it?
I mean, feeling good is a benefit, but people don't really realize that it is hurting their performance.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes it actually is good to multitask.
Okay.
So if you're exercising, for example, I find exercise very tedious and boring, and if I'm not listening to music or a good audiobook or something, I just won't exercise as much. The problem is when you're doing more than one cognitive task. So you're reading and you're listening to music that has lyrics or something like that, or you're watching the TV's on while you're trying to talk to somebody. Those are using the same parts of your brain, so your brain is competing for that attention. But like instrumental music while you're doing cooking or something, that there's no problem with that.
Okay. So, but can it be damaging in some cases? I mean, how big is the problem?
So damaging implies that there's sort of a long-term effect on your brain, and my reading of the research shows that that's a little bit contentious. We're not really sure. There's some evidence to suggest that people get a little bit better at multitasking, but there's also evidence that you're training your brain for constant reward of new thing after new thing, which means you're less good at focus. But I think the science is still, the jury's still out on that.
So some are better at multitasking then. Some people can take on 2, 3, 4 tasks at a time, perhaps.
I'm going to say no.
Really?
The truth is that there are some people who are good at multitasking, but they are actually very, very rare. So if you're one of those people who think that you're good at multitasking, you're probably wrong.
Okay.
Right? So when you ask people how good they are at multitasking, what they say is not reflected in when you really carefully measure their performance. So people think they're good, but they aren't.
Because things are probably suffering. Whatever they're working on, if they're multitasking, perhaps one thing is suffering a little more because they're not putting their complete focus into it?
Yeah, so dedicated focus is a little bit like a superpower in the modern age because so many other people are multitasking. If you can train yourself to shut off the distractions, turn off your notifications or shut off your phone and just work on a project for an hour with deep focus concentration, it's way better than spending 2 hours doing it while dealing with distractions and emails and all that.
So do you have further tips then on how people can do this?
Yeah, I think that people, if they don't want to study or whatever, they might try to make it a little bit better by having the TV on while they do it. But they actually have to spend a whole lot more time doing that than they would if they were just giving it focused concentration. So, I would recommend if you're doing something that's very difficult, you don't want to do it, to give yourself as much time as you can, but don't do anything else. So maybe study hard for 15 minutes and then let yourself have a break, rather than having it constantly there.
Are you a multitasker?
Well, I am strategically.
Yeah.
Right? So when I'm walking, I'll listen to books. I've tripled my book consumption when I turn to audiobooks.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm exercising, I listen to music, but I would never listen to music while I'm doing a writing project, for example.
More information, of course, jimdavies.org. Thank you very much, Professor, for being here. We appreciate
You're very welcome.
Always lots of fun. Daytime Ottawa, thank you for being here as well. Have a good day.